controversial question as I first responded. You know, I support anything that encourages competition. I support very strongly accountability. I support things that would encourage people to move with progress forward for ultimate quality outcomes. And incentives are wonderful, but then also at times there must be a negative incentive. And this would be that type of thing. I support tying outcomes to teacher salaries, but it has to be administered appropriately. And I think about my daughter-in-law teaching in Cicero school system special ed. One class, 1 year, nothing is a piece of cake, but compared to the following year, that first year was a piece of cake. Now, if you would tie her salary to test outcomes on the second year alone, you would seriously denigrate the work that she did. So it has to be local. It has to be decided on by faculty, by administration, by school board, and parents alike. Parents must be included in it. But there should be incentives, salary-tied outcome as well. But it can't be just salary. I think if we're going to be proactive in education, we have to make sure that if there is a pattern of starting to drop down in performance outcomes, then let's find out why. I know there are mentoring programs that you're using in schools already. Those need to be enhanced so that you have master teachers, competent teachers, teachers who have gone through the battles that will come alongside a teacher like that. And it's not just a slap on the salary hand, but rather it's saying, let's see before we get to that point how we can bring you along. I think that's an educational process that produces good students in the future, that produces involvement at all levels of administration, of school board, of faculty, and of parents alike, to make sure that the ultimate outcome is that we have quality teachers who are resourced to do what they can and want to do, if they do want to do that, and are given the tools to do that and the assistance, and then also the incentive to keep progressing. We certainly have it in politics, we certainly have it in private sector industry, and I think in education it works too. As a matter of course, when I served on the House Education Committee and the state legislature for 16 years, as well as appropriations, we had opportunity to support early childhood education as well as total K-12 education. But I'll never forget, after the passage of Proposal A, of course, which I was a prime co-sponsor of, there was an unintended consequence that was brought to me by then Bill Wright of the ISD district and Steve Krusich, that said the unintended consequences took away the opportunity of restoring and continuing adequate funding for the intermediate school districts, dealing with all sorts of things, including early childhood education, the support base that came from the ISD. So we went to town to try to fix and remedy that unintended consequence. Ended up having to fight the State Chamber of Commerce, which was resolute at that time to not let any change take place in Proposal A, at least as early as it was, as well as Governor England. We fought hard, we brought the statistics, we showed what support to the ISDs could be to our local districts in all the programs, including early childhood education. And ultimately, we prevailed. Made a commitment to Steve Krusich at that time that when the next charter millage would come up, that I would go around this district and speak alongside of him to make sure that that millage was passed based upon the law, and it was not outside of Proposal A's criteria. We did pass it. This community stood behind it. In Congress, I will make a commitment as I go back to continue to reduce the unnecessary spending that goes on. And I think also the unintended, at least by the framers of the Constitution, of the federal government getting in the way of education taking place in the states and at the local communities, because that's who has the priority. There is no priority in the U.S. Constitution for education. There is at the state level. Article 8, Section 1 is very clear about that. And so for us to put in place things like mandates like No Child Left Behind, which takes dollars, puts unintended consequences in education, local district, even with good ideas, sends down mandates without funding, impacts on early childhood education and the other programs. We have to restrict those by doing away with those disincentives for locals and states to provide a quality education.